welcome to Overwhelm is Optional, challenging the idea that it's okay to be stuck in overwhelm. I'm your host, Heidi Mark, and I'm a body mindfulness teacher and coach, and I help people get out of their heads into their body to find the energy, clarity and ease they long for. I hope you enjoy this. If you do, please subscribe, leave a lovely review and tell everyone you know. Thank you and enjoy. Okay, so in today's episode, I'm so honoured and excited to have Lizzie Vince with me. Lizzie Vince is an entrepreneur who helps unfulfilled and unhappy women find their mojo, monetize it, and live a purposeful and abundant life. So she has a business called findyourmojocoaching, which I love. We connected through the magic of the online space and we immediately hit it off, and the energy coming from Lizzie is palpable. So I love Lizzie's enthusiasm and her passion and commitment to her clients. We share some similarities in our ideal clients, which is why I guess we connected. And she's just gonna, just talk about her experience of overwhelm and what she does now to keep out of overwhelm. So welcome, Lizzie. It's so lovely to have you here.
Oh, wow. What an introduction. Thank you so much for having me. I was just nodding and smiling away like, yep. Couldn't agree more. Like trying not to interject because I'm such a chatterbox that I was like, no, I'm just going to let her do her intro. And then, like you said, our energy just aligned straight away. So
yeah, and what was really funny was that within 2 hours, I think we talked for 2 hours because we got so excited. And within that time, we'd come up with the anti-hustle revolution.
Yes, oh my gosh. And I'm telling everyone about it now, which is hilarious.
I've got more people who want to join and I'm hashtagging it. And I can't wait because I think in September when we've got some time and energy, we're going to give it more of a push. But at the moment, it's just this natural, organic movement that's growing. And I'm so excited. And obviously, it's completely linked to the audience of this podcast and making Overwhelm optional for you, because it's it's doing things in a way that's aligned and energizing and exciting for you. So I've forgotten about that momentarily in my excitement. But,
I've been telling everyone. I'm honestly like a broken record. I'm like talking about it all the time. But the good news is that loads of people are on board. So, summit is coming soon, listeners. Woo-hoo. Not sure how soon, but
it will happen without any hustle.
No pressure. Breaking it. I saw something the other day that was like, break up with pressure. It's not your friend. So pressure is like my ex. Okay, pressure is not in my life anymore. Yeah. Neither is burnout.
I agree. Love that, Lizzie. So tell us a bit about your adventures in Overwhelm.
Yes, adventures. Very interesting word because it's a bit of a roller coaster ride. Just being an entrepreneur, to be honest, is a bit of a roller coaster ride. So I am a natural overachiever and I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm pretty good with it now. I kind of just think nobody knows that it's not perfect, so why am I trying to make it perfect? And that kind of puts things in perspective. So that being a natural high achiever and overachiever and perfectionist obviously made me susceptible to burnout. So how long ago was it now? It's happened multiple times, but the last time it severely happened was in March. And that was because I was still working a 9-to-5 at the time, as well as running my business. And unfortunately, the pandemic came along and I left my job just before lockdown started. So I expected to start a new job and that just continued to do as I was doing. And obviously that didn't happen. So great opportunity for me to throw everything into my business. Although that's another story, because when that happened, like I say, throwing everything into it, that also caused me burnout. But probably the most severe burnout recently was in March. And it's quite difficult overwhelm, burnout, same thing to me. And it's quite hard to explain, but it was almost like a suffocating feeling. and almost feeling like trapped. And I was very emotional as well. I'd cry most days. I'd wake up in the morning wanting to cry and not really understanding why. And no amount of sleep would be enough to make me feel better. I wasn't enjoying things as much because I was tired and burnt out. So I can, give my all to situations or to people or to myself. And it is still, I know it's something I'm going to struggle with in the future because, and this is what I coach my clients on, is our limiting beliefs. And I have such a deeply rooted limiting belief that I'm still battling with today. And that is that you have to work hard to be successful and to earn money. And that's because my dad ran a very successful business that he started when he was 21, retired when he was 55, which is amazing, obviously like 10 years before state retirement, but with a lot of sacrifice, working in the evenings, weekends, not really being there for my sisters and I. Got 2 sisters, so my dad's very lucky to have 3 girls. And it was, just watching him without obviously realizing, because it's not in our conscious mind, that was conditioning me and programming me to have the belief that you have to work hard to be successful and to earn money. And this is where the pressure thing comes in. Like I said, taking the pressure off, breaking up with pressure. Pressure is not our friend. But when we're conditioned in society to put pressure on ourselves and other people put pressure on us, our parents, I think the schooling education system, without going too much down a rabbit hole, has a big part to play in this, which I think is very archaic and dated and needs to change. But I'm not becoming a politician anytime soon, so I don't know how I'm going to lobby that will come after the anti-hustle revolution. All part of the same thing. But yeah, we're conditioned in society to put pressure on ourselves and to believe that you have to work hard to be successful. And I loved in our 2-hour chat, and I keep telling people about this and telling people about you because you're incredible and you have so much knowledge and wisdom that I'm like, is this woman even real? It's amazing. So where you were saying about the clocks and how it would just be a church bell before that, and they introduced clocks, and therefore that kind of introduced time in a way because people started to measure things by time. And time really is a made up, fabricated concept. It's you. And this is why I'm really big on productivity in my coaching. So my coaching combines mindset, which I believe you need to have first, and you need to have mostly mindset, 80%, and then but you also need that 20% strategy. And the productivity work that I do with my clients is life-changing, and that is all about making the most of your time so that you have free time and a work-life balance. And setting boundaries is really important. Gone off on a major tangent here, but
it's okay, you keep going. I think that what you're doing is you're drawing on your journey and reflections and how you help people. And I think that that's the really exciting thing for me, for a lot of us entrepreneurs, is that that's what we're doing. And when you get deeply reflective about the most painful parts of your life, if you really get reflective, if you're willing to admit, like you just did, and like I would too, that my default pattern is to overwork. And recognizing that as a weakness and being aware of it, bringing awareness to it, enables us not only to heal ourselves and change our own journey, but to also really deeply help our clients. So I love actually what you've done there. What's your adventures in Overwhelm is important because it's what gold did you find on that painful journey that now leads you to how you work today. So just go for it. Tell us, how do you work today? Who's your favorite clients to work with? Describe your ideal client and why that is. How does that link to what you're talking about there?
Oh, yeah. I love this question. And it's something that I've got a lot clearer on with my coach. And I've had 5 coaches in the past year. So I highly recommend investing in a coach for the accountability because it's life-changing. And I'd say my ideal client is, has limiting beliefs, has some issues and things that she needs to work on, but she's willing to work on them.
Absolutely.
I think the willingness is like the biggest thing for me, and being a goal getter and action taker. I suppose I naturally attract high achievers who have also experienced burnout or are wanting to prevent it, because that's who I am. Yeah. So it's important for me to be aware that on the one hand, they're very passionate, they're very ambitious, they really want to succeed, but also they are going to have all of this baggage that comes along with it. But because of their character traits, they're going to be willing to take the action to change. And
absolutely, there's a tipping point, isn't there? And this is something as I've worked more closely and listened more closely to my ideal clients, is that without that tipping point, there's nothing I can do to help. So it's more than being open to coachable, which I think being open to coachable, being open to being coached is being coachable. That willingness to change your mindset, to have that shift, is one thing, and that's essential, and we know that. But there's also a tipping point, and I think the tipping point for each of us with our ideal clients is quite different, and I think identifying it is one of the most powerful things we can do. So for me, I describe my ideal client very similarly to you, but this phrase came to me of secretly surfing the verge of breakdown. And then I realised that it's not just that, it's the fed up bit. When you become so utterly fed up of secretly surfing this verge of breakdown, then you are willing to do something about it. And and you're talking about a similar tipping point, aren't you? It's like, I want to do something. Please let me work with you. Help me, show me, guide me. Is that tipping point is so important, and also deeply exciting, because when you meet somebody and you connect on that level and they go, yes, I'm in, that's what you want, isn't it? So what's the tipping point, do you think, for your client? What's that real sweet spot where they go, hell yeah?
I think this is a difficulty, because we become so stuck in our ways that it can be difficult to see an alternative and see another way.
Yeah.
So I'm, and this is a challenge with coaching, you can tell somebody that you're going to help them to do it, but whether they believe that you will actually help them, or whether they'll even do it themselves, is another story. So I'd say for me, the tipping point is probably in the transformation of when they realize, kind of have that epiphany or light bulb moment that, wait, what? I don't need to run myself into the ground to be successful and to earn money. I don't have to put pressure on myself. What? Business doesn't have to be hard. Business can be easy and flow with ease. What? Literally, it's like a rebirth. They're like, what the hell have I been doing for all my life? And for me, that is the most beautiful, incredible, empowering moment, when my clients have that realization that they can scale their business in a way that's in alignment with them, not with what the gurus are telling them to do. Again, something I'm very passionate about. And I said to you before, I'd love to write a book one day about, anti-hustle and stop listening to the gurus, that leverages their zone of genius, what they're good at, what they're naturally good at, not what the gurus are good at. And does all of this in a self-serving, sustainable way. Because if you've scaled your business, but working super hard and burning yourself out, incredible, you've scaled your business, congratulations. But for how long are you going to be able to sustain that? Probably not that long. And then you could cause yourself all kinds of health problems. Absolutely. You have relationship breakdowns, all sorts. And it's if you can do it in a way that's sustainable and self-serving, I just think, why would you not? But it's easier to say that than it is to do it. Easier said than done, because like I said earlier, all of this conditioning and programming is so deeply rooted in our subconscious that's why I start off with mindset in my coaching, because it is so important for my clients to really get that awareness of where the hell are my beliefs coming from that are causing me to act in this way that I don't particularly like, but it's safe because it's what I know. And
yeah, you're right. It's really scary, isn't it? It's really scary to go, I'm going to dare to do this with ease. I'm going to dare to do this my way. I'm going to dare to not push my body to breaking points. I'm going to continue to nourish my relationships. I'm going to continue to take time off and rest and play and have fun and live. I'm not going to miss my children growing up, or my dogs, or, you know, holidays or special events to work, despite the fact that, as you say, from a very young age in school, we're taught that you have to deny your happiness. You have to postpone happiness in order to be in order to be successful. And what I find really interesting about that is that research actually shows the opposite, that success comes from happiness, which is really interesting. And this is quite, you know, this is basic. This isn't woo-woo stuff. This is science. And yet it's not really permeating. So although we hear it and we kind of go, oh yeah, that sounds really good, excellent, I think you've really hit on something there about it doesn't really go in properly. It's very difficult to create that embodied sense of ease, of yes, you're right, which is why the anti-hustle revolution, and why the need for you coaching and me coaching, because we need to connect with each other. We need to say, you're not standing alone, you're not crazy, you are right, what you feel deeply inside is right. So I do think, I love what you're saying about, it's difficult to say anti-guru. It feels so daring, doesn't it, to say, no, I'm sick of it, you know, this constant. And I think we mentioned it before, that there feels like there's this gap between starting a business, having that courage, and six figures. It's this constant gap. It's like, so, and you got there how? You got there by doing the thing you're selling, because then what else are you doing? You know, you can't, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, it just feels energetically, to me, it feels draining.
Yeah.
Hearing those messages all the time, because it feels pushy, push, do things my way, push. So I love what you're doing. It's so exciting.
Thank you. I love what you're doing. And I spoke on a web masterclass the other day all about burnout and overwhelm. And the host made a really good point that we need to stop this like work-life balance nonsense where you can only be happy in your personal life. You can't be happy in your working life. And I thought about this the other day because we were discussing, like, you know, the idea of relying on your partner, like being codependent and things. And when I first met when my boyfriend and I first got together just over 2 years ago, I was very codependent because I hated my job. I absolutely hated it. I worked in fashion, worked for like the people on my team just weren't nice. I used to cry every day. It was awful. And I only ever lasted in my past 4 jobs 3 months. So obviously I was not made for the 9 to 5. So if anyone's listening who's like, oh my God, I can't stick in a job, don't worry. I've been there. Like, figure out, you know, what your thing is, what your zone of genius is, what lights you up. If you want to figure it out, you can reach out to me. I can help you to figure it out. But don't, you know, kick yourself for not being able to stay in a 9 to 5, because I've been there and a lot of people made me feel guilty for it. But I just thought my happiness is more important than this job. So I was fully relying on like my personal life to make me happy. I'd you know, count down the minutes till I got home. I remember my boyfriend was going to Italy with his mum and sister, and I did something so rash that I would just never do now. And it's so funny looking back, because I was like, wow, I must have been desperate. Like desperately kind of, not desperate in a bad way, but like desperately sad, that I booked a flight to go with them without asking them, so that they didn't have a choice that I was coming with them, because I just desperately couldn't the funny thing is I'd come back from my family holiday to France, and I was meant to be going back to work the next day, and I was like, I can't go back. So I thought, sod it, I'm just going to book a flight. Obviously I didn't go and I lost the money because they were like, I don't know, I'd only known them for like 6 months. They probably thought I was the craziest person. And yeah, and so like, yeah, just looking back on that, I'm like, wow, I must have been in such a desperately sad situation to be able to do that. And now, and this is the other end of the spectrum actually, now when I started in my business, it was like, oh my God, I love this. This doesn't feel like work. I can just work all the time because it's not work. And I hear that a lot, and that's something that needs to be challenged, because people are like, oh, if you love your job, you never work a day in your life, which can encourage you to think like, I'll just work all the time because I love what I do.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did. And like, obviously burnout and overwhelm hit me like a ton of bricks. And yeah, just looking back, I'm like, I'm so fortunate that I have a job that I absolutely love. Like, I really do count myself as privileged and lucky, and not lucky because I got here myself, but just I'm really grateful for it. But now I know, like, just because I love it, that doesn't mean I have to be working on it all the time. And just because I'm super passionate and really want to grow it, and I have so many visions and so much I want to do and like impact the world with, that doesn't mean that I have to burn myself out to do all those things, because if I do, I won't be able to do all of those things, because
absolutely
I'll like give myself all kinds of problems.
Do you think, I don't know about you, but I find that the reason I believe that I need to be an entrepreneur is because I have too many ideas to fit comfortably in employment. I become irritating because I'm like, but we could do this and we could do this and we could do this. And one thing that I learned, similar to you, coming out of employment and setting up on my own and trying to find my own way, my own rhythms, and then still repeating those patterns of striving and pushing and overworking, because that's what we know. And it works. Some of my highest achievements happened through burnout and overwhelm. But yeah, just it's the ideas, waking up in the morning really excited and energized, all these ideas, and then thinking I have to make them all happen. And one thing I've learned and really reflected on in the last 2 months is that I have limitless ideas. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant way, just the fact that there are limitless ideas and that I know how to tap into them, or that's just how I am, or there are limitless ideas and I don't need to make them happen. I can choose. I can do some of them with other people, like the anti-hustle revolution,
Yes.
And in fact, it's better to work with other people because you get much more than the
I miss that so much. That is one thing I miss for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to be doing some exciting.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all fine. But yeah, I think it's that having too many ideas and really being passionate and wanting to make a big difference in the world, but recognizing that even though that's a good thing and you love it, like you've said, it's still really important to remember that there's this whole life. There are people who love us who want to spend time with us. Our bodies need to rest and move and dance. In fact, one of the things I love about your Instagram is that there's a whole stream of you dancing. And I think that that's a really good thing, because just seeing you dancing helps shift a mindset. And I think that's one thing, we can talk to people and we can post and we can put out messages about this stuff, about how you don't need to burn yourself out to achieve your dreams. But we can also deliberately show the parts of ourselves that aren't overworking. And when I started doing this, I found it really difficult, because I often think about this. When you reach whatever success, your next success milestone, if people turn around to you and say, oh yeah, she has millions, but she deserves it, she worked really hard, or she has millions, I have no idea why, because she never seems to work very hard. Can you see that thing? And so for me, when I start to dare to post about the things that I'm enjoying doing that aren't recording podcasts, writing content, coaching, building my membership, creating courses, selling, marketing, the rest of it, daring to share, actually, I'm having an afternoon snooze. I'm taking the whole weekend off, and all my social media is already programmed in. So see ya, because my brain needs a rest. My brain needs a chance to. I often think there's something really healthy about walking without listening to music or a podcast, or just allowing your mind to drift. All of these hidden things that there used to be much more of. There used to be much more downtime, moments in between, that we now fill, mainly by reaching for our phone. And I think it's what I love about you showing that you're dancing is that you're showing the fun, the ease, the joy, and it's just really normal, and you're celebrating. Because
I didn't think of it like that. I just thought of it like I started doing it when like good things happen, when like really good things happened, because I just like, I don't know, whenever good things happen, I just want to dance naturally. I just love dancing. Not the best dancer, but I love it. Yeah. And yeah, so I always think that I was doing it with that intention, but where you've said it shows that I'm kind of taking the pressure off, and I'm doing it with ease. I'm like, yeah.
In fact, it's interesting because I recorded myself dancing and hated it and didn't share it.
No.
Yeah, because I did the whole, oh my God, that looks terrible. So that's interesting, isn't it? That whole, so I love that you just, I think it's really important to reflect back what we're saying. Really, really important.
Yeah. And I always get so much more engagement for that on social media anyway. So I'm just like, well, might as well. It's a triple win.
Right, I'm going to share my next dancing video then.
You've got to do it. Honestly, people love it. I also posted a video back in March where I was sharing my burnout and I got tearful and stuff.
Yeah.
Those sorts of videos and dancing videos get the most engagement because people want to see vulnerability. Vulnerability in terms of like sadness, or vulnerability in terms of like ecstasy, like one extreme or the other. So yeah, just like don't be afraid to, I always like I said, stop listening to the gurus, do you. This is what I help my clients to do, leverage their zone of genius. And that involves, and I know this sounds cliche because authenticity has become the word of the decade, but just be you, be your authentic self. Like whatever you want to put out there, put it out there. Yeah. Let's just see what happens, because something that works for somebody else isn't probably going to work for you, because it worked for them for a reason.
Yeah. I think that's really important. That's you've hit the nail on the head there. When we try and do things somebody else's way, I think that's when we to me it's about being disconnected from myself. So if I get stuck in my head, this is why I focus so much on overwhelm, because to me overwhelm is like the gateway to burnout, because it's when we become so stuck in our head, we're disconnected from our bodies, we're disconnected from our hearts, we're disconnected from our purpose, our why, we disconnect from the earth, and so we burn through ourselves and the planet and other people and all of it. So that not listening to external voices while still managing to take the good stuff. And I think that's what's difficult, isn't it? Is that what do we take for ourselves? There's so much information freely available. So what would you suggest for people who are feeling overwhelmed by those external voices, all of that information? How would you help people navigate through that? What would be a tip for you?
Yeah, I mean, that involves a lot of inner work, which I know sounds very woo-woo, but first of all, we have to identify what are you naturally good at? What do you enjoy? Because for some people, this would take longer than others because they've forgotten about what they enjoy. They've forgotten about what they're naturally good at because they've got so caught up in following and copying whatever exactly in their head and what everyone else is doing. So,
which is why I love your dancing, because you said it there, like we forget what brings us joy. We forget how to play and have fun. And when we dance, and dancing without caring what it looks like, so dancing from our bodies, not our heads, we reconnect with that really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And then I think you can say, oh yeah, I remember what I used to want to do. Or you can start to feel in your body, what do I really want to do? What excites me? And then you start to shift. But to me, it's like you can go round and round your head asking this question: what is my zone of genius? What am I good at? I don't know anymore. Oh my God, I've no idea. Oh my God, I'm rubbish. And you can get stuck in that loop in your head. But dancing is pretty magical, I think, for getting out of that quite quickly.
Yeah.
I'm really
dancing and laughter.
Dancing.
The two, yeah. Like I interchange between different podcasts and I listen to some funny podcasts because you need that element of comedy, because laughter is, they don't say laughter is the best medicine for no reason. And this is what I help my clients with, to find their buzz moments that they can experience every day. And I even ask them, what was one thing you enjoyed as a child that you don't do anymore? And I would ask your listeners to ask themselves that, because we forget that we enjoyed. For me, it was horse riding. I absolutely loved it. And it's like, and I would love to have live on a farm in the future and have horses and everything. And it's just not something I do anymore, but it's something that I would definitely want to get back into. But for some people, it might be, climbing trees, painting, doing puzzles, dancing, singing. I think most girls would have done performances with their friends for their family, where you do a dance routine and stuff, or a little play. And you think oh, I enjoyed that as a kid, I won't enjoy that now. But you do it and you get that same feeling and nostalgia and endorphin rush that you got as a child, and it takes you back and you feel
rolling
amazing.
Down a hill. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah.
Rolling down a hill. I was actually talking to another female entrepreneur who I love all this connection.
Me too.
It's so cool. And she was saying, rolling down a hill. I don't know what we were doing. We must have been talking. So we were going, and we both went, yes, let's go and find a hill and roll down a hill. And we don't live that near, so we're literally going to meet up to roll down a hill.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's amazing.
Because you can't stop laughing, can you, when you do that?
No.
Just it just makes you laugh. It's just brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I live with my boyfriend's family, and his dad put up the trampoline again a few weeks ago, and we were all jumping on the trampoline and we were just all laughing hysterically. Yeah. And I used to have a trampoline growing up, and it just brought me back to that. Just why is childhood the time for fun? Why can't our whole lives be time for fun? I love it when I see elderly people having fun. I'm being silly and being big kids. I'm everything. Life has become way too serious.
Oh,
and
way too
stuffy and
it's boring.
Corporate, and everything's about money and the economy and politics and stuff. And it's let's just,
playfulness.
100%. So that's what I help my clients with, to make the time to have fun and to play and to laugh. And
I love this thing you called it, a buzz moment. I like that.
Yeah.
So how do you weave that in? How do you use that as a coaching tool? What do you say?
So obviously they come up with what their buzz moment could be, and I hold them accountable to it. It's as simple as that. And obviously, because I'm holding them accountable, they have to do it. So then they do it and they're like, oh yeah, it was really good. I'm going to do it every day or every week now. And I'm like, see, it works.
Oh, love it. So what else? What are your biggest tips to how we can make money as entrepreneurs without burning out? Because I know money mindset
Mm.
is a big part of your work. So I'd be really interested, because I think what happens is, I know for myself, I get anxious about money and think, well, I need to work harder to get more
That's a
money
big one.
so that then I feel at ease, even though
Totally.
that's not how I want to do it. And even though I know that's out of alignment, I think it's people often say it's all right for you because you've got money and therefore you don't have to work as hard. So if you can just really tap into, I know you've got some juicy tips on money mindset.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, as I said, that's what I start with in my coaching, because it's really important to lay those foundations. And as I said earlier, a lot of people have the belief that you have to work hard to earn money and be successful. So like you just said, they have this guilt about not working as hard or taking time off, especially when you're an entrepreneur. And I totally get it, because like when you do a 9 to 5, you're still getting paid when you're not working. You know, you take a holiday, and you go for the weekend or whatever, you're still getting paid. So it is a different kind of mindset. How I shifted my mindset was, you know, kind of just viewing my business as a 9 to 5, like in the same way I'd get, you know, 4 weeks of holiday in my 9 to 5 and get my weekends. I'm going to treat myself to that because I am entitled to it. And I'm entitled to even more as an entrepreneur, because typically we you know, we don't just work the 9 to 5, we work very long hours. So yeah, I think just what I do with my clients is I get them to uncover what their beliefs are about money. What is their money past? What are the stories they're telling themselves about money? What are their money blocks? And how can they release them? And I sometimes do like EFT or tapping with them. And then I get them to create new, better serving beliefs, which almost become like affirmations. And then I get them to, you know, repeat the affirmations every day to ingrain them slowly but surely into their subconscious. And then, you know, obviously the work isn't done. It's takes work every day to rewire our subconscious. But if you can create a better serving belief and actually believe it, fully deep down believe it, then you can release the old not serving belief and make sure that every action you take aligns with that belief. I think we just obviously assume that, you know, the Henry Ford quote, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So we assume that, you know, this is just the way we almost accept, this is just the way I think, this is the way I am. No, anyone can change. You can challenge that. So there's a lot of deep, somewhat spiritual work to uncovering and releasing those money blocks. And then, yeah, creating an exciting, abundant money future that they want to create. And so I'd recommend for your listeners to do some journaling around their money beliefs and Absolutely. Just ask themselves, like, what were you told as a child about money? How did your parents interact with money? What did your parents say to you about money? Even small things like, you know, not having pocket money like 1 week, or your friend at school having better trainers than you had. Even tiny things like that can stay in your subconscious mind and manifest in you thinking that, you know, you're not worthy, or that you have to work harder, you have to put more pressure on yourself, you're not good enough. So yeah, just have some reflection time.
It sounds like it could be fun as well. I mean, often we think of mindset work as being hard work, but I love the way, I mean, going back and thinking about stories, but you can do it without getting, it doesn't have to be really hard work, does it? It's just you're kind of catching. I always like to think of the mind as, our minds tend to be very negative. And I like the idea of catching your mind out with its sneaky judgments, with its labels, with its negative stories, that fill our brain until we can see no other possible way of doing things, which to me is overwhelm. So I guess money overwhelm is when you're stuck, completely stuck, that you think you have to continue in the way you're doing, even though it's exhausting and horrible and you're crying a lot and it's getting harder and harder to keep going. We get stuck. We're so overwhelmed. We can't see past that. And once you start to say, okay, so actually, you sneaky mind, you're just repeating rubbish from my childhood, you can catch it out. And then I love the way you said about getting your clients to dream of their money future, because that could just be fun, right?
Definitely. Yeah, have fun with it. Don't make it too serious or
Play.
Yeah, exactly. That is the homework from this podcast episode. Have fun.
Have fun, dance, play.
Have more fun.
Yeah, have more fun.
Yeah.
Work out your buzz moment and maybe trampoline while dreaming up what kind of car you want.
Yeah, go for it. Trampoline whilst painting.
It could get messy.
It could. Trampoline whilst creating your vision board.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So to wrap this up, because this has just been, we could talk for hours and this is just so much fun. What is your personal favourite way to combat overwhelm? So you said right at the beginning that you recognise that inherent default pattern of overworking and that you could struggle with it in the future. So what keeps you in check? What's your, I guess, most playful and fun way to combat those struggles with overwhelm?
Good question. So my way to combat overwhelm, I mean, this is the thing with burnout and overwhelm. It creeps up on you. It's not like one day you just wake up and you're like, I'm overwhelmed or I'm burnt out. It creeps up on you. So you've got to be aware of signs, and you can do that through checking in with your body. So, doing a body scan every morning, doing a meditation, and just, see how you feel in your body. Ask yourself, how does my body feel today? Because your mind, most of the time, our mind is not our friend. Our body is our friend. Yeah. Our body is there for us. Our mind is playing tricks on us and telling us to do things that we don't need to do, or we don't need to do there and then. It can wait. Yeah. So I just think being mindful and present and aware, like awareness is so, so important and is the first step. So if you can become aware of your thoughts, and anytime a triggering thought that could lead to overwhelm or that's overwhelming you or could lead to burnout crops up, just write it down. Just simply write it down and acknowledge it and think, what could be a better serving thought. So I say to my clients, I was going to say we should and need, but I was about to say we ban those words. Yeah. But instead of saying should, say could. Instead of saying need, say want. And this is powerful because you can say like, I've got a could-do list instead of a to-do list. Yeah. I really want to do this instead of I really need to do this. It's got a different energetic vibration. I choose to do this instead of I must do this. Was there any others? And other ones is like saying just and only. And that's a big thing around imposter syndrome and self-doubt. Like, oh, I just do this. I only do this. Quit that as well. Let's just throw all these bad words in the bin and have like a swear jar. That's what I get my clients to do. Have a swear jar for the number of times that you say those words and, use that towards your next investment in a coach or whatever. And another exercise that I absolutely love, which is going to sound a bit woo-woo and crazy, but it's amazing. It's worked for all my clients, is naming your inner critic. So mine's called Gerald, and anytime, and of course he's an old man wearing a long black coat, and he's very traditional and conservative and narrow-minded. And anytime a thought comes up that doesn't serve me, I say, thank you, Gerald, for showing up today. I know you're here to support me, but I don't need you right now. I return you back to origin with love and consciousness. So you're not hating on your inner critic, you're showing it respect, but you're also showing it the door. And this is so powerful because it allows you to detach from detachment. Detachment is resilience for me. It is viewing things objectively. And I'm reading a book at the moment called oh God, I have to send you the link because I can't remember. It's all about like successful women and how successful women think. And being resilient is viewing things objectively. So if something bad happens, take a pause between, you know, the stimulus and the response, and take a deep breath in and out, and ask yourself, how do I want to respond? How do I choose to respond to this? Instead of just being like, oh, why does this always happen to me? Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, this is never going to work out. Oh, what's the point? Oh, I can't do this. Because our ego and our mind will instantly go to that without a doubt, without fail. Which is why mindset work is very, very hard and time consuming, and it takes consistent work every day. But honestly, if you can start being aware of that space between the stimulus and the response,
absolutely,
naming your inner critic, journaling, being aware of listening to your body instead of your mind, challenging your mind, those are all like winners. And I'm not perfect. I don't, every time something bad happens, there's not like every time I'm like, I can handle this. You know, there are times where I burst into tears or I want to like punch something. You know, it's all part of being human. It's not about perfection, you know. Absolutely. Cheesy, but it's progress over perfection.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lizzie.
You're welcome.
Amazing and so helpful.
Oh, it's been so fun.
Where can people find out how to connect with you?
Yes, so of course I'm Find Your Mojo Coaching on Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn. So you can find me anywhere there. You can email me, findyourmojocoaching@gmail.com. I'd also love to offer your listeners a free one-to-one coaching call so that we can discuss
that's
what I've been through today and what I've talked through today, and see how I can help them to implement it. Because these podcasts are great, but if you're not going to take aligned action from it, I'm not talking about like hustle action or, you know, I'm talking about aligned action, then your life won't change. So you do have to take the action. It's in the word, it's in the phrase law of attraction. Action is actually within that. So you've got to take the action, but, you know, without the hustle and pressure.
We'll get that put in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. So much fun.